Okay, people. So, Sky have just dropped a new original film, which is called The Portable Door. Okay, it is written, it's directed by Jeffrey Walker and written by Leon Ford. Um, the film is produced by dum, 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 Blanca Lister, Todd Fellman. It is co-produced by Matt Pearson. It is executive produced by Brian Beckman, Matt Cohen, Laura Grange, Gary Hamilton, Ryan Hamilton, Lisa Henson, Andrew Coulter, Shayna Levine, Christopher Lighton, Bryce Menzies, Kurt Rowan, Kalia Sokabi, Julia Stewart, Mitchell Williams, Ying Yi, and Elizabeth Zavayoski. And it's line produced by Stuart Wood. Benjamin Speed is on music. Donald McAlpine, cinematography. Jeff Lamb edits the piece. Ben Parkinson, casting. Production design is Matthew Putland. Art direction, we've got Doug Franks and Helen O'Lone. Justine Dunn is on set decoration. Yes, there's a load of people on hair, makeup, and effects, so we won't go through that. But our cast. Well, we have Paul Carpenter, played by Patrick Gibson. Sophie Pettingel is played by Sophie Wilde. Dennis Tanner is played by Sam Neill. Professor Van Spee is played by Rachel House. We have Countess Judy, played by Miranda Otto. Casimir Solezwich is played by Chris Pang. Right. Neville is played by Arkadaz. Rosie is played by Jessica Deagle. Mr. Roden, played by Chris Story. Delia Bryson, played by Lin Yin. We have got Monty, played by Damon Herriman. We have got different iterations of Humphrey. So the 12-year-old Humphrey is played by Finn Treaky, and the 20-year-old Humphrey is played by Connor Treaky. I think. Well, Mrs. Dow is played by Deanna Lynn. Arthur Tanner is played by Christopher Sommers. Rosie Tanner is played by Tori Webb. The receptionist is played by Vivian Abita. Yeah, no, that is our main group of people. Oh, Humphrey Wells, of course, is played by Christopher Waltz. Yes. I can't. Yeah, that's an omission for sure. Okay, so the gist of the story is the film centers around Paul and Sophie, lowly put upon interns who begin working at the mysterious London firm J.W. Wells and Co. and become increasingly aware that their employers are anything but conventional. Charismatic villains, Humphrey Wells, the CEO of the company, and middle manager Dennis Tanner are disrupting the world of magic by bringing modern corporate strategy to ancient magical practices. And Paul and Sophie discover the true agenda of the vast corporation. So, right, this is actually an adaptation of a book by the same name from Tom Holt, right? There's 7 books in the series, and actually, right, the first book, The Portable Door, is just over 20 years old, right? Came out early March 2003. Book 7 came out in 2011. So I kind of have a feeling it would seem that the series is done. So there's plenty of material here if they want to take it further. And the way the film ends, you have a feeling that more would be made if this film, is a success, right? Now, the film itself, I think look, it's a young adult film, right? The young adult books. I mean, if you've read any Tom Holt stuff, he's kind of witty, right? He's witty. His books have a nice kind of beat to them. They move along nicely, right? They're not offensive. They work, kind of easy reading kind of thing. Um, and this film, you can see that it's trying to encapsulate that. And right? It's colorful, right? In the way they kind of set the tones. Everyone has that shiny kind of look to them, right? We do that thing. So we're following, Paul, right? And he's meant to be this hopeless, kind of lovable geek. Right? That's the kind of character that they're giving him. And it's all well and good. He goes for an interview, he gets distracted, ends up somewhere else where he meets Sophie. Things go awry, but obviously everything works out and he gets a new job, you know? So he's working in this company, which he has no clue what they do and all of this, right? And yeah, as he's there, things seem to unfold. Mysteries, knowledge, love, all of these things. It's fine, right? It's fine. I feel there's a few things. There's a few things with this, right? Because we've got him being late for work and then rushing out. And if anyone knows London during rush hour, right? That morning commute, it is a fucking nightmare. It's a straight nightmare, people, right? Especially if you're going in for 9 o'clock. I oftentimes start earlier, right? I'll try and do an 8 o'clock start. And even then, it is busy as hell. You know what I mean? But yeah, there was not enough people around for it to be anywhere believable. You know what I mean? You're just like, yo, this is way empty, man, for London at first thing in the morning, you know? But you've kind of set Paul up. So you get the feeling that he's probably early 20s, but he just seems really just dumb. You know what I mean? Because I think, look, there's creating a character who's maybe a little naive, right? Wants to just help everyone, but lets himself mad open to be taken advantage. You can do that. But there's simple things like, we've got, well, firstly, it's just sitting down where there's no seat there. I'm just like, unless, you know what I mean? You can't see for shit. You're not doing that, right? It's his housemate not paying rent. Like, there's simple things that you're just like, come on, man. Like, he'd be of an age where that's an issue. Because if someone's not paying rent, he's not working. How's the bills getting paid? You know what I mean? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. Because we're not saying he's got loads of money. So how's anything getting paid on that front? We also kind of get the feeling he's a bit inquisitive, but he starts work at this random place and it's all a bit like, okay. And the odd thing is kind of us, but not really. Right? So you just think, nah, someone like that is going to be all over the place looking for things. Right? Then once they discover like powers and things like that, it's not just like, oh, it's oh, how does this work? Let me practice. Let me, you know what I mean? It would be doing all of these things to discover the full use and extent of. So it doesn't really make any sense when it's just like, okay, you know, like the whole portable door thing is weird, right? The portable door thing is weird for a few reasons. Him and Sophie are in an office which people can just come in and go from when they want. So you're like, if you're using this thing that no one's meant to know you have, surely you would set up a system or do it in a place where it's not going to be overly obvious, right? Because what if someone comes to the office and they're not there, right? It's just that how you explaining that, you know? There's all these things that make you just think that makes no sense. Like, you're not going out all day. You know, what would make sense being is, Sophie, meet me in the pub after work, and then doing it after work. But doing it during like it makes no sense. And again, no kind of what does this do? Right? Oh, what does this do? What are the ramifications here? Like, there's all of these things that are just left in the blue. At the beginning, we see a dragon. Then the dragon's kind of forgotten about. All the rest of the film, it's mentioned towards the end, but that forgotten about. And you're just like, I do not believe, right, that there's this person who's going to do this thing. That makes no sense, right? There's just these things that go down that don't really make any sense, right? Paul and Sophie, them, that just seems rather forced, right? The whole nature of that relationship. And you just think, at least show us why. Because we have nothing, right? We don't really have them getting to know each other, right? We have them hanging out, right? Going to different places, but that's kind of it, right? We don't really have them getting to know. So it's just like, why would they, right? Other than they both have started work on the same day at the same place, right? That's not enough. It's not enough for us to believe in this thing. You know, that's the thing. It's just like the acting is fine. Like there's no terrible acting, right? It's just the script is just a bit one-dimensional. That's what it kind of feels like. It just feels very one-dimensional on the story. I mean, I should say there's a story as a whole, right? The idea, you think, okay, yeah, no, that could definitely work, right? Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Oh, a door that can take you all these places, and oh, a plot to do this thing. And you'd be like, okay, yeah, I'm down with that. But it's just it doesn't make any sense the way everything is unfolding, right? The fact that these people aren't looking to uncover any of these things. They're just like, oh, we have this, or oh, we're here. And that is just like, okay, right? You have him at this point, he does this thing, which he's not overly shocked at. But then he's jumping at these other things, which you kind of feel aren't as crazy as the first thing. So you're just like, wait, what? How's he jumping at those, but not at that? Right? Everything is just way too clean and precise. Where you just think some things would be a bit more haphazard, right? Some places would be dusty, which they are just not, you know. And then you just have these MacGuffins, right? These machinas all over the place, where you're just like, you've just changed the laws. You've changed the laws of what this is meant to be to enable this one thing, which just feels cheap, right? It just feels like a cheap kind of conclusion when you're just like, but surely, right? The character should have to do this thing to do this thing, you know? And here's the thing, right? They're given a task, right? They're like, oh, if you do this, this will do this, right? Which you're like, okay, that makes sense, right? And then, there's a confrontation and someone says a thing and there's pause, but you're just like, yeah, but you know how to resolve this. So all you have to do is go do the thing and everyone is cool. But so why are you pausing? Right? Because you know how to resolve. So it's just like, what was he? Huh? Doesn't make any sense just to do this Deuce Machina thing. And you're like, man, you know? Man, I don't know. I don't know. Right? I believe this is it's definitely a young audience film. It's not offensive. You know what I mean? Like little kids will be like, oh, magic and blah blah blah. I like Harry Potter. This is like Harry Potter. Right? Well, I mean, I kind of figure if you enjoyed the School of Good and Evil, right? Dropped last year. Yeah. I feel that was that last year? I think it was last year. I'm losing track of time, people. For the School of Good and Evil, right? The next big joint, which again, based on young adult films, right? If you dig that, then I think this will work for you. You know? I think it's like that. If you like Harry Potter, this will probably work. You know what I mean? Just these kind of young adult type of things that are a little bit flimsy in the story construction. But yeah, if they work for you, then people, then the portable door will be your thing. You know, you can throw your kids down in front of it, they'll enjoy it. You know what I mean? They're not going to be shocked by violence or sex or swearing. No, none of that. So they can sit there and watch and, you know, then maybe buy them the book series, right? But if you want something a little more sophisticated, you know what I mean? A little bit more weighty, might not be the thing. But it is now out. It's out and about. So yeah, there you go, people. The portable door.